Hello, I'm Chef Johnny Stewart, and today on Texas Style Cuisine, I'm going to show you how to grill a tri-tip roast. Thanks for staying with us. Now we're going to get started on our tri-tip roast. We have a really nice tri-tip here this evening. I picked this up at HEB. And HEB has a, I don't know if all of them have it, but some of the nicer HEBs have what they call their HEB natural cuts, which are a choice cut of meat. So this is a choice tri-tip roast. And the butcher, they'll be happy to trim these down for you. They'll take the fat cap off and everything else if you ask them to. And actually, I ask them to leave it on this one. Because it's going to help protect it some. And if y'all will look, you can see the nice marbling throughout the striations of this tri-tip. If you haven't had one before, these are very, very good, very excellent. Got a nice fat cap here. I could probably trim a little bit of that if I wanted to, but remember, fat is flavor. And again, I'm going to be grilling this pretty hot, so that fat will help protect the meat from the heat. So not a lot to it. This is my coffee rub. We've used it before. Y'all have seen the recipe before. I will put a link on here to it. But I'm just going to coat this nicely. Kind of pat that in some. Make sure I get my sides. I am going to season the fat. Some people won't season the fat a lot because it kind of keeps it from getting down to the meat. And I guess you could kind of cut some hatch marks in this, and that would help take that seasoning closer to the meat. But it is going to get some flavor to it. So I'm going to do that. And I'm pretty much just going to cook this the way it came from the butcher. Butchers over there at Lincoln Heights were just really nice. Helped me get this one the other day when I was there. But anyways, that's it. We're going to set it. We're going to leave this on it as our heat is coming up. We've got the fire going. It's going to take about another 20 minutes for that fire to be ready. So while the fire is getting ready, I'm just going to let this sit with the seasoning on it. What we're going to do is we're going to put this on the grill. We're going to get some nice hatch marks on it. We're going to get it turned over on the other side, put some hatch marks on that side. And once it's been on there for a little bit, I'm going to move it to the side, and we're going to cook a little bit with some indirect heat on it. I'm going to keep monitoring the temperature. We're going to take this up to about 140 degrees, 135. That's going to give us a nice rare to medium rare. The wife likes hers cooked a little more, so we'll take hers off this smaller end, be cooked through a little bit better. But we're pretty much shooting for a medium rare on this tri-tip roast, and we're excited to see how this turns out. Now, before our tri-tip goes on the grill, I'm just going to cover it with some zesty Italian dressing. There's a lot of different marinades that y'all could use on this to add some moisture to it to help keep this outside from drying out. But I tell you what, I use zesty Italian on a lot of things. It always seems to work out really well. Just going to coat it lightly with that. You could actually let this stay on there for a couple of hours if you wanted to. We came in kind of late tonight, didn't have time to do all that to it, decided to go ahead and cook it. So I'm not going to let it sit with it a long time, but this is a beautiful cut of meat. Has some fantastic marbling in it. So I don't think moisture is going to be a problem. I think it's going to turn out really nice. So you can see our coffee rubs on it. It's ready to go on the grill, so we're going to move it over and put it on the grill. I'm going to let that sit there about 2 or 3 minutes, and I'm going to make a 90-degree turn to get some pretty hatch marks on that side, simply for color. A little bit of char will add some flavor to that also. But I have the grill down low. It's real close to the fire, and that is a hot fire. That's probably about 450 degrees, I would say. Yeah, that's pretty hot. So anyways, we're going to leave that there 2 or 3 minutes, then we'll turn it to work on our hatch marks. All right. It's been about 3 minutes, so we're going to see if we can turn this steak. It turned loose. We got some nice char marks going on there, so we're going to turn it 90 degrees and let our hatch marks get going the other direction. Now, if you'll notice, that steak or that roast was not stuck. If you wait long enough, that meat will turn loose from the grill. It will release it when it's time to pick it up. A lot of times people try to pick it up. They go, oh, my meat's stuck to the grill. If you had a oiled grill or you have oiled the meat like we did here, then when it's ready, whenever it's ready, it'll turn loose and pick up. That one picked up very easy, came loose, was easy to make the turn. So we're going to wait another 2 or 3 minutes, get some char marks on that side, then we're going to flip it over. Yeah. All right, it's been about 3 minutes. We're going to flip this one. It's turned loose. All right, we have some good sear marks on there. Turn it to the fat side down. Going to let it cook that way a little bit. Get a few minutes on it. And again, that fat cap, we're going to cook it with that fat cap down toward the fire. That's going to help protect our meat, keep our meat tender. I am going to baste this top some with the marinade that we have that has our coffee rub in it and the zesty Italian dressing. Let's just get some of our marinade here. I'm going to go right up on top of this steak with it. Take my brush, smooth it out a little bit up on top. Now the oil in this zesty Italian is going to give us a little flare up, but that's all right. It's not going to hurt anything. We're going to watch that fire that there's not a big flare up. The little flame's not going to hurt. I have some chunks of mesquite on top of our Kingsford charcoal. So those, you may be able to see those. I'm not sure on the close-up, but we've got some mesquite wood in there just to give us a little flavor. We're going to let that cook. And again, we're going to turn this one in about 3 minutes. I've probably got about a minute and a half of that, 3 minutes left. Work on some hatch marks on that side. And then we're going to move it off the main part of the fire a little bit so it's more of an indirect heat instead of a direct heat on the meat itself. All right, going to put a little more of the marinade on the top. And a little bit of a flare up in this oil. I'm going to get that moved. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this steak, I'm going to flip it over and move it right there where it's more of an indirect heat and let it finish cooking there. All right, let's get a little more of our seasoning. Put it up on top, give it some moisture where this fat cap is. Got a little bit too much char on that, but remember, that's our fat cap. I'm going to trim some of that off after we slice it anyway, so that's not going to hurt a bit. Now, what I'm going to do is direct heat, make this more of like an offset smoker. I'm just going to take a couple of my chafing dish lids, and I'm going to set them on top. And all that's doing is forcing some of that heat to move toward the meat and out this other side. It's not by no means is it totally sealing it off. I got a hole on this back side, but it's going to get the main part of our heat where it has to flow across our tri-tip roast. And we're going to let this go like it is for about maybe 10 minutes. Then I'm going to switch sides with it so we can get the other side a little bit more. Let that go about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to flip it over with that fat cap down and let it go for about another 15 minutes or so. And it should be ready with a nice medium rare. All right, just going to pick up my tri-tip roast. Now I'm going to turn it end for end. Get the other side toward the fire. Put my lid back on it. Defer some of the heat across the meat a little bit better. We're going to let that sit there for about another 10 minutes. It's been about another 10 minutes, so we're going to check this tri-tip roast. And I'm going to check the temperature on it. All right, we're about 120 degrees right now, so we're getting real close to that medium rare area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, pick it up. I'm going to go fat side down and put it a little more directly back over the fire and let it go for about another 10 minutes, and I think we'll be up to our medium rare. All right, that's looking good. We got fat side down. That's good. Fat is going to protect it from the fire. Got our lids back on it again. They'll deflect the heat back over off the side, hold a little more heat on that, and we'll let it go about another 10 minutes. We've had another 10 minutes on our tri-tip. We'll check the temperature on it. Oh yeah, got plenty of smoke on it. Let's temp it. If you do not have a thermopin, I say get you one. They are expensive, but they temp so fast. All right, we're about 138 on this fat end, so it's gonna give us a nice medium rare. By the time we let this sit, thinner ends up in that 144 range. So that'll go up to medium for my wife. I'm gonna pick this up, and we're gonna let this sit for just a few minutes. Now that our tri-tip is off the fire, the juices are very hot. And if we cut into it right now, what's gonna happen is all that juice is gonna run out of that steak, and we're gonna lose a lot of the moisture. So we're gonna let it sit. We'll let it sit for about 10 minutes. It'll cool some, the juices will cool. It'll bring some of that juice back into it. Then we'll take it and we'll slice it up. The grain striations in a tri-tip are a little bit different than some other ones. If you look, they're running this way down here, but then they gradually start going crossways. So when we slice this, at first we want to kind of slice it here. But as we get to this other end, we want to start angling a little bit to get a little more cross grain. Even though this is a nice tender piece of meat, there was a lot of mottling in it. It's a good cut. We still want to go across the grain when we cut it to help with any toughness that could be in it. That always relieves some of that. So let's let this sit there a minute, get the juices back in it, and then we'll slice it up and see how it turned out. All right, our tri-tip has been sitting for about 10 minutes. So we're going to see if we can slice this and see how it turned out. All right, let's see how this looks. Oh yeah, looking beautiful. This is going to be a nice medium on this smaller end. My wife will really enjoy that. You can see that. That is a beautiful cut of meat there. That is looking nice. I got to give that a try. That's great. That is fantastic. Coffee rub worked great on it. The smoke with that mesquite just really set it off fantastically. This is going to be a wonderful meal, without a doubt. Let's kind of cut a little further back in it and see if we got a little more pink back here. All right, here's the other end. We can see a close-up on it. It's still pink in the middle. Might be a little bit past medium rare, but it is really not quite medium either. Beautiful looking steak. You just can't go wrong. This tri-tip is fantastic.
Thank you for watching this episode of Texas Style Cuisine. Really hope you enjoyed seeing a tri-tip roast grilled. If you like that, go down there and give me a thumbs up. We always appreciate seeing those thumbs up. And subscribe our channel if you haven't done that yet. That way you'll get on the list. You get notifications when we have new videos up. We try to get them up weekly. Doesn't always happen because of our hectic schedule, but we get them up just as quick as we can. Again, thank y'all for stopping by. We always appreciate it. And come back to see us again on Texas Style Cuisine.
Sitting by the wagon when the sun come up this morning, bacon, eggs, and coffee, biscuits, and beans. Cookie strikes the bell and he rings the world a warning. How them boys put food away beats all I've ever seen.